The preceding program was brought to you in part by Welcome to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti. It is actually Youth and Family Services Night on the Pete Mezzetti Show tonight, and with me to discuss what's going on with Youth and Family Services is Heather McNeil, who's with the Old Saybrook Youth and Family Services. Welcome. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Pete.
Good to see you again. It's been a while.
Thank you.
And Mary Schneider, who is the Executive Director of the Lyme Youth and Family Services. Welcome. How are you?
Good to be here. Thank you.
Thanks for coming down. So, Mary, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your organization.
Well, the Lyme's Youth Service Bureau is the youth services that covers the towns of Lyme and Old Lyme.
Okay.
So we serve 2 towns, and I'm the executive director, and I've been there for 20 years.
Wow. Obviously, you like it.
I do. I love my job.
Good. Mm-hmm. And what types of services do you guys provide?
We provide services for youth and families that fall into a few categories.
Okay.
The biggest one probably is positive youth development, after-school programs, leadership, mentoring, community service for school-age students.
Okay.
And then we have a pretty robust early childhood program as well, with a variety of programs for children 0 to 5 and their parents or caregivers. We also manage the Lyme Prevention Coalition,
all right,
which is the Drug and Alcohol Prevention Coalition for Youth. We also provide some social services for both towns as well. And we provide mental health services for our community too. We have counseling at our office.
Now, how closely do you guys work with Old Saybrook?
We love to collaborate with Old Saybrook. We've collaborated a few times over the years.
Yeah.
I think youth service bureaus in general collaborate quite a bit with each other.
We do.
And Heather, tell us a little bit about your.
Sure. Our organization is a municipal department within Old Saybrook for the residents of Old Saybrook.
Right.
And we do much the same as Mary Seidner described in terms of early childhood, positive youth development, community advocacy and mobilization. And social services is also within our agency.
Okay.
So a lot of basic needs kinds of program, access to health care, affordable housing options and resources, and employment training. I've been there 15 years.
Yeah.
So, yep, I like my job too. That's one of the things we all have in common, I think.
You guys both like your jobs. Now, I do see that I believe we've got a copy of the graphic that we've got a Save a Life Bridge project. Can we maybe talk about the project?
Sure.
And I believe the poster's
Would you like
up on
to
the
head that
screen.
off?
Sure, thank you. So Old Saybrook and Old Lyme are working collaboratively to bring awareness to suicide prevention by putting signage on both sides of the Baldwin Bridge.
Okay.
In Old Lyme and in Old Saybrook. It's a project we've been working on for about a year, working with our legislators and the Department of Transportation to get everything approved.
Yeah.
Took a little while, but it's going to culminate in an event that we're having on September 19th.
Okay.
So there are 2 signs on both sides of the bridge. The Saybrook signs are installed already, and the Old Lyme signs are to be installed momentarily, any day.
And it was spurred on, or the idea originated from about 2 years ago. There was a woman at risk on the Baldwin Bridge who was able to be saved by 2 state troopers who attended that call and were able to talk her back off the ledge where she was located.
I remember
And
that.
so some of the signage on both sides of the bridge is because, you know, people often need to reach out for help, but they need an immediate response. And so there's a QR code on the signage which people can look to, but also it kind of goes through the steps in case someone gets to that point and they can't remember who to call. It's very clearly spelled out for them on both those signs. One of the signs is at the lower part of both sidewalks, and the other is closer to the bridge.
Okay. And you guys are going to unveil the sign?
Yeah, we'll be over on the Old Lyme approach to that, and we'll have some speakers. I believe our first selectmen and women will be there, as well as we hope to have some students who are part of our crisis text line at the Old Saybrook High School. And I know Mary's got some students that she hopes to bring as well. So anything we can do to call awareness to that. And September is Suicide Prevention Month, so it's a perfect time to highlight the importance of this project.
Okay, I didn't know that September was
Yeah.
suicide prevention. Okay.
Yeah.
Mary, so what types of general services do you guys offer? Maybe we can talk about a couple of them and get into a little bit more of a detail.
General services? Well, we provide services for children of all ages.
Oh.
So, I mean, that starts with our early childhood programming, our play groups. We have a play group for new parents, which provides a wonderful service for them so they can meet each other, learn resources in the community, and just have, you know, make some social connections with other parents who also are new parents. But we, in these programs, we have something every day of the week during the school year for different ages, the 1-year-old group, the 2-year-old group, the music group, the sensory group, a lot of early childhood programming that we do. And then our after-school programs are, we have programs for a variety of ages, but we have an elementary after-school program, a middle school after-school program. We have a high school community service club that meets every week in the evening. And so we see, and our staff is in the school quite a bit too with programming. So we see a large number of the youth who live in Lyme and Old Lyme through the programs that we offer.
And your building was just refurbished, right?
Yes, our building was just refurbished. So our agency is located on Lyme Street in the historic district of Old Lyme.
Okay.
And so our main office building is a little antique house.
Okay.
And so we just finished renovating that building, which it really needed it. We on our property we have 3 buildings, but this is our main office building, and we have a youth center as well and an early childhood building. But the main office building, where our administrative staff works and our counseling is held, has been completely renovated, gutted to the studs, and that's thanks to a very helpful state grant that we received.
Okay.
That paid for 75% of the project. It's a nonprofit grant program.
All right.
So,
And I believe you guys are a nonprofit organization.
yes.
Correct?
Right, which is unusual for a youth services organization. In Connecticut, almost every town has a youth service bureau. There are about 105. I think that's the correct number. And of those 105, some serve more than one towns like we do. And of those 105, 18 are nonprofits. So so it's a small amount. So Old Saybrook, for example, is a municipal agency within town government, but we are a private nonprofit. But we collaborate heavily with the town and town hall, and we do receive funding from our towns, from both Lyme and Old Lyme.
Right. So
But about half of our budget is received through fundraising.
Right.
So
you know, I'm sure could be.
it's a large part of my job. Yeah. Something that Heather doesn't really have to do, but she does things that I don't have to do. So.
And tell us about your organization, some of the programs you guys have.
Sure. We have an early childhood council as well, and in October we do an annual literacy event, early literacy, and it's called One Book, One Town. It's actually a national movement, and it's usually around the same time of year for in different areas. And so I think that's the first weekend of October. And we partner with Acton Public Library and the school system, And the library purchases of books, copies of the book that is chosen to give to all the different classrooms. So all the kids are read the story during class time, and then they come out to the library or the town green for a kind of book walk. And we have different kinds of events for them and their parents to attend. So early literacy is a big focus of our Early Childhood Council, and so we have different literacy programs throughout the year. Plus, we just installed a free little library right on youth and family property.
You did?
Yeah, and we sponsored 2 more, one at the public beach and one at Trask Park.
Nice.
So that's one area. But like Mary, we serve all ages and stages, really. So when people talk about youth service work, we're usually have very small staff, but when you think about all the ground that we cover, people are always surprised how many folks actually work there. So we rely on community partners, other town departments, and that's why we share so many resources with each other to help each other out.
Now, during the summer, do things quiet down for both of your organizations, or
No.
are they ramping up?
Yeah, we're busy.
Yeah?
We're very busy.
Yeah, it's busy in different ways. I think there's a kind of a cycle that we go through, and we have one slow day, and then we think, oh, we could relax a little bit, but then the next day something comes up. So, and like Mary too, we have clinical services within our agency. So, we always have social services, and myself or another clinical member is always on call for the police department or social services kinds of emergencies within town. So responding to a family that might be displaced because of a fire or related to a domestic violence issue or a housing disruption. If someone gets evicted from their housing, we might get a call to come in. So it's always busy that way.
Exactly.
And in the summer, we do see more folks come to this area who aren't they don't always have permanent housing. So we do see more calls for service in the summertime.
Mary, you have something you'd like to add?
No, well, this summer, we provide, during the summer, a lot of programming. A lot of camp-type programming. Some of our most popular ones are, right now, this week, we have an engineering camp, which uses a lot of Legos. But we just wrapped up our Bold and Gold programs, which is Boys Outdoor Leadership Development and Girls Outdoor Leadership Development, which are week-long programs where the students, it's for a middle school program, and students do a variety of activities on land and sea, is what we say, and lots of leadership development, I would say. So they were paddleboarding, they were hiking, trying new sports with fabulous facilitators.
Would you guys mind sticking around for another segment?
Sure, be happy to.
All right, we'll be right back.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire, and how to control the flames. But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hey there. I want to make sure you're okay to drive. Have you had anything to drink? Okay, I need you to follow this light with your eyes only. Now, place your left foot on the line like this. Now take your right foot and place it in front of your left foot.
What's on the line when you drink and drive? Your money, your job, your freedom.
There's only one.
Basically, your life.
You are under arrest for driving under the influence.
Oh, it's great.
Welcome back to this week's edition of the Pete Mezzetti Show. I'm Pete Mezzetti, sitting here with Mary Seidner, who's the Executive Director of the Lyme Youth Services Bureau, and Heather McNeil, who is with the Old Saybrook Youth Family Services Bureau. Welcome back.
Thanks, Pete.
Not a problem. So, ladies, let's talk about, open up the segment talking about the opioid awareness event in Narcan training.
Sure. A lot of towns have access to opioid settlement funds that were given through the federal government and state government for us to use for some very specific purposes. One is prevention education and also towards treatment. and also special populations. So I wrote a proposal for the Estuary Senior Center in Old Saybrook,
Right.
because we do know that sometimes senior citizens may have a lot of unused prescription medication within their homes, and they may have grandkids that they babysit for or something like that. So one of the aspects of this training on August 20th is medication lock boxes, but also information on disposal. So we are bringing a drug disposal box to the police station in Old Saybrook. It'll be installed there. So National Drug Take Back Day in April.
Yes.
Ordinarily we send people to East Lyme or Clinton, but now Old Saybrook will have a settled location for drug take back.
Okay.
But the event on the 20th, it will be
Yes.
kind of a brief training around opioid awareness, because we do have multi-generational homes in our town, and some folks report struggling with adult children who have substance use concerns. So we want to give them some information on where to get help, what to notice, and how to go about that. And then the Narcan training piece is we do have Narcan to give out to the folks,
Okay.
and they'll have a demonstration of how to use it, because it is something that most people, even if they have no previous experience administering something like that, can be shown that in a fairly easy demonstration, and there are instructions with the sample. And then anyone who attends will have their choice of the lock boxes, and that could be used for prescription medication,
Yeah.
or even if you have, a lot of people use CBD items within their home, and we want to definitely keep those away from kids.
Yes.
Because a lot of them do look like candy. And, and between the ages of 0 and 5, the rate of intoxication
Right.
admissions to hospitals has really risen because they get access to it by accident and eat those.
Exactly.
So we want to have people store that safely.
You don't want to eat something and then say,
Right.
I don't feel well.
Right.
And then something happened, and then you're going to end up in the emergency room.
Yeah. And although every town has different access to different amounts of the opioid settlement money, the criteria remains the same for everyone for how to utilize those funds. So.
You have something you'd like to add, Mary?
Well, I agree with what Heather said. We have held several Narcan trainings in Lyme and Old Lyme, and the one that you're have planned sounds really interesting.
Thank you.
We do participate in the National Drug Take Back events, which are always the last Saturday in April and October from 10 to 2. We always have it at the firehouse on Lime Street in collaboration with our police department and our fire department. And it's always amazing to me every 6 months how many prescriptions we collect.
Right. That's pretty important to get trained, and because you never know.
It is important, yeah.
Just the education piece too, for folks to know about safe disposal and not putting things, flushing things down the toilet or putting them in the garbage. So.
No, you don't want to flush it or throw it in the garbage.
Right.
It's probably a safe. It's probably going to. The box is probably going to be outside of the Old Saybrook Police Department
Yes.
24/7, so you can drop anything
Yep.
off.
Interim Chief Ryan Walsh has been instrumental in filling out the paperwork for that, 'cause it's pretty extensive, but he's really moving that project forward.
Very, wow, it's pretty impressive. So, what else do we want to talk about both of your agencies and get the word spread out?
Well, I think I'll toot the horn for Old Saybrook just for a moment. We have an open house coming up on September 19th. It's Friday, because the agency itself is 50 years old. So 1975, it was established within Old Saybrook. It is one of the longer running ones in the state. And so we're having an open house to invite residents, because we've had generations of families really come through the doors there.
Right.
We want to say thank you to people who've donated their time and their energy to the agency. And we're going to have some performers who are the Senior Strings, which has been organized by our social services coordinator, Susan Consoli.
Okay.
It began through some ARPA funding right after COVID, when we realized that social isolation was really having quite an impact on the mental health of senior citizens. And she developed a program to teach them violin and actually ukulele. And now, I wouldn't be surprised if we see them on America's Got Talent someday, Pete.
Really?
They're really very good. They've been to the Starlight Festival to play. They did a concert at Town Hall, and they'll be at our open house 4 to 6 on September 19th.
That's right. You're involved in the Starlight Festival too, but
Right.
But that's another show
That's
for
it.
another.
We'll come back
That's
another-
another
yeah.
show for
Right.
for the fall.
Yeah.
And Mary, as far what do you guys have going on for the
Well,
organization?
each year we like to have a theme for our year, and with different resources for parents and programs. And this year our theme is going to continue, same theme as last year, which is regarding youth and phones and social media. Because we know that social media has a negative impact on youth mental health. And I think every family struggles with this issue. And so we brought in a speaker from the Wait Until 8th program recently, which is a grassroots nationwide movement encouraging families to wait until 8th grade to provide their child with a phone. That's not social media, that's just the phone. And so we're going to continue that work this year with a series of programs for parents in the evening with speakers about youth mental health and social media. We also bring our high school youth leader group into the middle school and facilitate conversations during the middle school advisories about social media. And it's interesting when you talk to the older high school students about it, and many of them will tell you they wish that they never had social media when they were younger. You know, they regret it and wish their parents hadn't given it to them, even though they begged at the time, right?
Yeah, right.
So.
Now, as far as the school year is about to get ramped up here within the next couple of weeks, months, and what are you guys looking forward to for the upcoming school year?
It's always fun. There's so much energy around. We have master level interns who come in doing their internship for clinical mental health or marriage and family therapy. So we involve them in providing groups within the schools. And then we're within the elementary school, middle school, and at the high school as well. And at the high school, our prevention specialist also does some education through some of the health classes in 9th and 10th grade for specific topics that may not be covered fully in the health curriculum. So every year is different. We always look forward to meeting some new students. And the second week of school, we take the entire freshman class to Camp Hazen for a transition to high school program. On the Tuesday, the Camp Hazen staff come to the school and do relationship building skills. And on Friday the 12th, we take the whole class to Chester, to Camp Hazen, where they do a lot of outdoor experiential learning. So that's always a hit at the beginning of the year that we look forward to. And it's that relationship building with the students that really we carry through the rest of the year.
And Mary, how about your organization and looking forward to the school year?
Yeah, we're looking forward to the school year. We've already announced our fall programs, many, and they're very well received. So we just love having the kids at the youth center every day after school. And do you have a youth center in Silver?
We don't.
Okay.
Park and Rec does.
Okay, right. So we do have a youth center. Our facility, our agency is located on Lime Street right in front of the middle school. So students can walk from the middle school and the high school, which is a very nice location to be. So.
Now, one thing I want to talk about is we're going to go back to the Save a Life Bridge project, but I also want to talk about the Brian Daigle Foundation and exactly what they are and who they are. I've heard of them, so I'm familiar with the name, but I'm not familiar with exactly what they do.
Ann Daigle is a remarkable woman.
Okay.
Lives in East Lyme.
All right.
And her son passed away when he was a junior in college. And she has dedicated her life's work since his passing to grief support and suicide awareness. And she's become a force in the state of Connecticut. She wanted to create an organization to help families with hope and healing, is her phrase. And she started a series of support groups in our region and started fundraising, started her own nonprofit and started fundraising to create a center. So now there is a center for hope and healing in Niantic on Main Street. But she has a variety of support groups for all different types of grief and counseling and other programming. She is a leader statewide in the suicide awareness. She sits on the Connecticut Statewide Suicide Advisory Board. She's a resource to many of the youth service bureaus and mental health agencies in our region. And she has been working with Heather and myself to help plan the events for September 19th.
Oh, nice. And she seems like she does a lot of wonderful work. I haven't had her on, but Maybe one of these days.
You should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe one of
Very
these days.
interesting.
I remember, I believe back in the day, they used to do something with lacrosse.
They do. They still do.
Oh, they still do it, okay.
They call it. So her son was a lacrosse player, and she has a program called Lax to Live.
Yes.
And she meets with different teams throughout the lacrosse season to talk about suicide awareness, and it's a wonderful program. I believe she meets with 2 teams right before their game. So.
She actually, a bunch of years ago, I was involved with Morgan Boys Lacrosse in Clinton, and they came out and did the
Yes.
did the program, and that was pretty touching. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. And I was a coach at the time, so I was on the sidelines. It's like, one of my players looks at me, they were like, Coach, you got nothing to say. They were like, you're speechless. I'm like, they were like, that doesn't happen too often. I'm like, yeah, thanks. No, but it seems like a very worthwhile organization. So let's go back to the Save a Life Bridge project and go over those details. And we're also going to talk about the opioid awareness event as well.
Sure. On September 18th, it's a Thursday. No?
No, that's your open house.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Friday, September 19th.
September 19th?
11 a.m. on the Old Lime side approach to the bridge.
Okay.
People would need to park in the commuter lot and then walk over. But we will have some speakers, some tabling events with emergency resources available. We hope to have some students there, and then our selectmen will be there to speak, and potentially a senator or 2, or and some local state representatives.
All right.
So.
And I believe we have an opioid event as well.
Yep, that's on Wednesday, August 20th at
Yeah.
6 p.m. at the Estuary Senior Center in Old Saybrook.
Yeah.
And there's no registration fee or anything like that. People are free to come, and there'll be a short presentation. We can be available to answer questions, and then we'll do a Narcan demonstration, and everyone will be given a Narcan kit. And then we will also have drug lock boxes that folks can take. We also have, they're very strong, like banking envelopes that
Yep.
lock in case someone wants to take it for traveling.
Right.
It's better than the box.
Exactly.
So,
Well, Heather and Mary, we're about to run out of time, but before we do, I want to thank you guys for coming down, and hopefully we'll see you again soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. On behalf of Heather and Mary, I'm Pete Mezzetti. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week. The preceding program was brought to you in part by